Jerrick Gibson drops his top 5 in Florida. We can't say we're surprised that we end up in it, but I remember when he had his official visits when it was still only 5. We didn't make the list for the 5th official visit. I want to say it was Texas, Miami, Bama, Georgia, maybe, and Tennessee, I think, were the 5. I could be wrong on the 5, but I want to say those are the 5. Texas is the heavy front runner right now. The reason I say smoke and mirrors is that he drops his top 5 after a month or so after being crystal ball to Texas. Feels very just trying, in a sense, to stay in the news in front of everybody, right? And this is what I'm weirded about too, because are we the guys that are being picked on and we just don't know it yet? Are we the ones that we're being laughed at and not laughed with? Because all these kids are saying, like, Florida's great, love Florida, they love it, great culture, great personality, love DJ Lagway. I'm gonna go visit there. We're taking a visit there, and then none of them commit. It's like, well, what was all the hype about? What's going on? And it just feels like, look, we've been pretty connected. We've watched your recruiting, Jerrick. We know that you've loved Florida. We know that you were committed there early on, but something definitely changed once Billy and Co took over. You came and visited. The following week, you went to Texas and immediately were crystal balled. But you still keep Florida in you're still keeping Florida in there. What is it, right? Are we still pursuing that? It just, I don't know. I don't feel like it's a lock. It feels like it's just a play, and it's just to continue the narrative of like, hey, I'm still thinking about it. Like, you're not thinking about it. You're just doing what the recruits do, which I get it, do your thing, but it doesn't feel like it's a possibility at all.
I think he kind of wants to be here in a way. I think his asking price NIL wise is a little bit way too high, and from what I heard, it was pretty high. And I'm less like, yeah, nobody's really going to overpay that. Now Texas has shown their ability to overpay for running backs, so they are an overpaying running back school. We've shown the ability to, at least, I'm not going to say we overpay, but at least to put all of our horses on a quarterback. Obviously, you see Austin Simmons, you see DJ Lagway. Texas is a little bit different. They're going to pay for their running back. So I think that's the case right now. I think Gibson still has interest in Florida. I think he's always, he was already committed to Dan Mullen back in 2022. He decommitted back in 2022. And ever since then, he's still kept Florida there as a school. And I think that, I can't even look at it as teasing. I actually think he does want to be here, but I just think that, you can't be, you can be an elite recruit, but like sometimes, man, when you're an elite recruit and you ask for way, way, way too much, a lot of schools are just going to turn their heads. Now, it depends on what position you're concentrated on. I mean, like, you look at Texas, they've taken Cedric Baxter and a lot of other elite running backs. Of course, they were able to get Arch Manning, but I don't even think Arch Manning cared about getting a big NIL deal, knowing where he came from. He already had money. So it's like, I think just Texas just overpays for the running backs. That's just what they like. They like the running backs. They want to get the big, 5-star, number 1, number 2 running backs. And that's what they're willing to put all their chips on, as opposed to Florida. They're willing to put all their chips on the quarterback. I mean, you've seen it. So I think he goes to Texas if you were to ask me. And I think Florida you already have 2 running backs, Chauncey Bowens and Kane and Daniels. Do you really need a third running back in the high school class? I figured you'd go after McCaskill just to have an experienced running back on the roster. But I think Florida's probably done at running back in their class. I don't know. They could take a third one, though.
Yeah, and the third one being Jerrick, that would be a stiff or a stuffy running back room, in the sense of that the third running back, like, well, this is heavier than I anticipated, and trying to keep all 3 is going to be tough for sure.
And look, I'm telling you, Chauncey Bowens is good, man. Like,
yeah, no, we talked about this too. 1 through 10. Look, right now we're getting caught up, and we're getting of the noise and being 5-star, right? That's what's really drawing us. And I think about this all the time. I mean, this whole rating system, this is definitely a shot over the bow here to On3 and 247. Like, they control the whole game. They control this entire, like, I was saying about that. Their system is phenomenal. Like, hear me out for a second. They literally, like, if shit's slow, they go, you know what, guys, let's drop some new ratings for these kids. Let's drop, this kid's now a 5-star, this kid's now a 5-star, for no rhyme or reason. They may have played one camp, and like, you know what, that guy looked electric. And here they go. They have done a phenomenal job cornering the recruiting market. And 100%. Like, it's not even rivals. It's On3 and 247. Those 2 guys are your powerhouses. They are the Disney and whatever. They're Apple and Microsoft in the recruiting world, because they control this entire narrative of what they feel is priority. And if they have a certain feeling about a school, look, everyone's biased, and it's kind of like they're trolling us, right? They're like, oh, look at this guy, what he's saying about Florida and how much love he is about Florida. It's like, why is everyone picking on us? What do we do? Who we
Yeah,
piss off?
I think it's funny how certain people are national reporters, but they always report on us and nobody else. I think that's pretty funny too. But I mean, you go and you look at these composites, and it's not me taking a shot. I love Gators Online. I love the guys that work over there. They have nothing to do with the ratings anyway, so it completely excludes them from the concept. But whenever I look at like some of the composites for some of these kids, most of like the sites are pretty close. Like you'll see a kid that's ranked in the top 100, and one site has him at 90, the other site has him at 80, the other site may have him at like an even 100. But then you have On3, and they have him at like 200, or they have him at 10, and you're like, how are these ratings so off? From
Because
like
again,
the other three
they
sites?
control it. It gives them something to talk about when they're that far off. And look, honestly, it favors On3 to put us at number 4. 247 seems to be the most truest in ratings, in my opinion. I like to look On3 still. I think they're all fun to look at. I'm not going to say that I choose one over the other. I don't. On3 though.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned Miles Graham. They got him at like 190, and every other site has him in like the top 50. Like,
yeah, but they On3 has
who's scouting players over there?
But On3 has us rated at number 4 overall for recruiting so far. So
yeah,
and we're like 11 and 2 for. But On3 knows that Florida does a great. There's the reason why there's so many Florida podcasts. Florida has a phenomenal fan base. It's strong. It's powerful, right? And they know that good or bad, Florida fans are going to show up. Anytime you see a tweet go viral, it's because Florida is somehow getting bashed. That one guy who tweeted some Tennessee account, the new Big Game Boomer. I can't think of his. I wanted to find it for the show today. Said that Florida was going to go 2 for 8, 0 for 8.
The new useless guy.
What's his name?
You said the new Big Game Boomer, and I said the new useless guy.
Yeah, he made his prediction on how the season was going to play out, and he put Florida at 2 and 8 and 0 and 8, and the thing went viral. Like,
oh, I know what you're talking about.
500,000 views, exploded. It only exploded because shitting on Florida. Now, there's obviously some other things on there, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I could care less about predictions or ratings or anything like that because, I mean, the games are going to get played anyway. So you can say we're going to win one game, and I could care less.